We be live. Hello, everyone. This is the Atheist Republic. My name is Armin Navabi, and we're here with Rebecca and Roy. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so guys, this is going to be a very interesting discussion. We're going to have a lot of agreements and some disagreements. So I'm really looking forward to this. But first, Rebecca, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, how do you want me to introduce myself to your audience?
Whatever you think is relevant or interesting, or however you want to. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm an Israeli, a right-wing Israeli, an atheist Jew. So I think there are a lot of things about me that might seem contradictory to people, but I like being surprising. So a random introduction.
I think all three of us here are atheist Zionists. I think all three of us here. Yeah. Yes. Is that true? Yes. So atheist Zionist.
Didn't
Rebecca,
expect that.
Yes. So Roy, I know
you didn't expect that, Rebecca.
No, I mean, Zionism is very basic. I don't think you need to believe in anything to be a Zionist, to be honest. You just, does nationalism require belief in God?
No. I believe, let me know if you think this definition is correct, because when I went to Israel, I talked to so many people, and this is based on what I understand, this is my definition of Zionism. Anybody who believes that Israel has the right, should exist, and has the right to defend itself is a Zionist. Is that a good definition? So Roy agrees with that definition.
So basically, people who believe that Israel should exist as a national homeland for the Jewish people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But I'm the only one here that is not Jewish or Israeli. You two are both Israeli. So Roy, and you're both right now in Israel. But go on, Rebecca. You want to say something?
No, I'm saying it's just at this point, it's just the question is are you a nationalist or not? Some people don't think there should be a France for French, right? For the French.
Oh, no, I am.
Italian. And for Italy, it's so it's the same with Zionism, right? It depends, are you somebody who believes in nationalism or not?
Yes.
Yeah, because your definition, your definition of Zionism didn't include the word Jews in it, and Rebecca completed that. You said that Israel has the right to exist, and you didn't add Jews. So
no, I said as the Jewish.
You said Jews. Armin didn't.
Oh, Armin didn't.
So yeah. So I think every nation. So when I say Jewish, maybe my understanding of my definition of what Jewish means. So I don't want to get into this discussion right now, but I don't think that Israel should be governed by Jewish beliefs. But I think Israel should be a Jewish state, has the right to be a Jewish state, as in the sense that it has the right to be a safe place for where all Jews can go and call it their country as a safe, given the amount of hatred and the amount of threats against Jews all around the world. Israel has the right to be a country where Jews can go to and call it their country and call it their home. So that's, I call it I don't believe it based on any mythology or based on history. For me, this is a pragmatic issue, and every country has the right to do that, including Israel. So yeah. And Roy, so do you want to also introduce yourself to our audience, because some people might not? people already know you in our
I've been here a few times. I'm Roy. Yeah. I'm a Jew from Israel. I'm watching I've watched the Atheist Republic for a long time, and it was during this latest war that I wanted to contribute. So I got here, and in this specific conversation, I watched Rebecca very lately too, and I describe her as she's saying things that many people believe in Israel. I feel like they're wrong, but I can't articulate it. I can't tell you why. She says something and says, well, no, but why? I can't say why it's wrong. So I would love to see what's going to be.
So this is interesting, because a lot of people think Israelis think that, or Iranian people think that, or American people think that, and they don't consider there's a diversity of opinion. So both of you are Israeli, both of you are atheists, both of you are Jewish, both of you are Zionists, and you have some disagreements. But I suspect, like Roy suspects, that Rebecca's opinions are more popular in Israel than Roy's opinions.
I think so,
more
especially
people
during
will
this
agree
war.
with Rebecca.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think,
interesting.
Rebecca? I think
Okay.
that most Israelis will.
I think, yeah, most, and also a lot of Arabs as well, by the way, not just Jews.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds
Would
good.
be
Oh, by the way,
interesting.
before we talk about these opinions, Rebecca, do you think somebody like me who's neither Israeli or Jewish can they be a Zionist? I consider myself a Zionist, but do you think somebody that is neither Israeli or Jewish could be a Zionist?
I mean, everybody that believes in nationalism is kind of Zionist, or
Yeah.
they're just hypocrites. Like that's the other option.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, because if you don't believe in Zionism but you believe in nationalism, you're saying basically every other country has a right to exist except Israel,
Yeah.
and that's hypocritical. And it's probably because of anti-Semitic views that you hold that exception. I believe so. Most of the time, that's the main reasons. Oh, we got a super chat. Somebody saying Rebecca is a star. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
A
very
rising one.
By the way, I'm
yeah,
not with headphones on. It doesn't bother you? I just noticed, like at some point, there is no.
No, you're good. Your
Oh, your
idea is good. Your
microphone
idea is good.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Rebecca, I forgot to mention to people your YouTube channel is in the description. I
Thank
will
you.
put it in
course.
the live chat for everybody as well if they want to go subscribe to it. So, guys, it's both in the description and now it's in the live chat as well. So, if you're interested in Rebecca's views and want to go watch her videos and talk to her, make sure you go check it out. Okay, so Rebecca, let's see what these disagreements are. Okay. So the title is about the two-state solution. So let's focus on that. I know there's some other opinions that you have about Judaism and atheism. And if we open that door, that we're going to get stuck in it for a long time. So I'm not going to open that door. Let's get right into the two-state solution disagreement that we might have. You are against the two-state solution. And I also looked into the stats, and it seems the two-state solution in Israel has only 30% support. Am I correct that this is the number that I saw? So 70% of Israelis do not believe in the two-state solution. So what is it? What is it about the two-state solution that you think it's not it's not a proper solution?
To be honest, like the most basic thing is the geography. It's like it's impossible geographically. And basically we can end the discussion there because it's like,
that's it.
Because but to me, like I feel like people I don't know, like a lot of people forget that first of all you have to drink, you have to eat, you have to, like there are basic human needs, and the borders are like naturally emerge because like of certain, like when it makes sense geographically, and the two-state solution does not make sense geographically, and we can literally end it there. Like that's so basic.
I think there's a sentence you say a lot of times that covers this. I think, correct me if am I quoting you wrong, but I think you say life before rights or something like that, right?
So
like,
so let me actually agree with.
priorities.
So let me see if I understanding this correctly, and I might have some agreements with you. So first of all, I've been to Israel, and I've been also to the West Bank, and I also talked to military experts about this topic a lot, and it's been very clear to me how easy it is to basically take over Tel Aviv like that if Palestine was an Islamic country. Like imagine having the Islamic Republic of Iran but right next to you, within minutes away from Tel Aviv. That would be suicide for Israel, right? So I completely understand that.
Also,
And I also
it's a long corridor. It's not like there's
it's
only this
narrow.
like very small part which is just 7 miles. It's a very long corridor.
Right. And I also understand that people who talk about freedom and equality and democracy, they're talking from a position of privilege that they have their lives secured. Like, these are the people who have security, who are not afraid of dying tomorrow, that are talking about all these rights and freedoms, and they're talking from a position of privilege. And before we have all of these rights, before we have human rights and all of these great, beautiful things, security and having an understanding that you're going to be alive to see tomorrow, that takes the priority. The right to life comes before all these other rights. I also accept that and agree with that. And I also agree that imagine Hamas, but with a country that had a legal right to keep buying weapons and preparing, not just like pipes that you turn into rockets. You have the ability to now buy tanks, buy helicopters, buy planes, all under the protection of the legality of it based on international laws, and pulling it up before you attack Israel. That would also be suicidal for Israel. I also understand all of that. So, by the way, Roy, what would you say to all of that? Because you said that you disagree with Rebecca on this point. So that sounds like a very challenging thing to respond to. So how would you respond to that? Because that's a very good case against the two-state. That's a very good case against the two-state solution.
Yeah, that's exactly as I said. I don't have a really good retort to that, except for I want there to be a better solution. I feel like it's not fair.
Like, as an Israeli, I can tell you, like, the number one reason that people opposed to it is that they don't want to do the work that comes with it. They just want to just leave me alone. Like, let's operate as the way we do now with the West Bank, or like we come in, we take people out, and just no thinking is like the easiest solution probably for most people.
No, I can tell you, right now I feel that there are many Palestinians that are like mistreated, right? They don't get what they deserve. They should come. I believe some of them should come back. They would never come back. So with the one-state solution, with the two-state solution, like it feels like it should be the best place, and maybe there could be a solution, but I just can't put my finger on what could you do.
Okay, so here's the best case people have. By the way, guys, I read the I see the super chats. I will get to them. People are complimenting you guys. But before, so here's the best case people have against the for the two-state solution. There is no other alternative. Like, it's a bad choice, but what are you going to do? So Rebecca, what is the alternative if not the two-state solution?
But I think it's like, that's the thing, is that, like, I believe that we're at a point where the whole world has to apply the same solution, because the biggest problem with the Palestinians and whatever is the lack of moral basis, lack of moral education, and lack of moral code. That's the number one problem. And as a woman, I can't, like, the thing that bothered me so much, like, as an Israeli woman, that I think that women confined to women maybe thinks that they don't necessarily confine to men. Like, seeing the pain of my Arab female friends and what they have to go through, and like the shelters, and like, like, we get refugees from the Palestinian territories all the time. Women, gays, like people escaping for their lives because of honor killings. And when you get to meet these people, and you get to know them, and like, these hijabi girls, that the biggest fear that they have is marriage. Like, literally, a lot of them. Like, I went to the Technion, I met a lot of girls that were fully like, not veiled, but hijabi, like not with modern clothes. And they said to me, like, they would tell me that if there is one thing they want to avoid in life, is getting married. So this is so when I live in it, this is what hurts me the most, right? The lack of values, the strong torturing, the weak. It's especially if people who live in the West Bank experience it, like, up close. Because if, like, everybody like bashing the settlers and like the settlements, but actually the settlers and the settlements do the most work a lot of times with the Arab community, like with the Arabs and the Palestinians, and
In their
when
favor, you mean?
in their favor, and they are the ones that the Palestinians go and and ask help from many times, so they hear all the stories from the inside as well. And to me, right, that the most important thing is to take over the education system and install morals. Like this is the one thing that has to be done, right? And of course, it's easy to say, like, I believe it would lead to one state solution eventually, right? When everybody gets to vote and they have the same basic moral system. But eventually, yeah.
like in
But it
100
would
years?
have, if would had for like, let's not like I remember. I love this story from when I was younger. So Israel had a problem. The problem was that we had a lot like flowers that were protected, but people kept plucking them. They would keep like plucking the flowers and like give it to each other. So I remember that when I was younger in school, they told us, listen, this hurts the environment, and you have to go back home and educate your parents not to pluck the flowers, not to, if
that.
there are,
I remember
yeah.
that, yeah.
If there are flowers and even they look nice, even there are a lot of them, do not pluck them. It hurts the environment. So we would go back home and tell our parents, hey, this is not something we should do. And now nobody's doing that. It's like it's ingrained that you do not take, like, you don't pluck flowers away. So you'd be surprised, like, in one way, yes, it's a challenge. But the other thing is that there is a natural inclination towards morals also in human biology, and you just need to learn to exploit it properly, right? The thing is, like, the biggest challenge I believe we have right now is that there isn't enough Israeli, like, Jews that speak Arabic and vice versa, like, good enough to do that. So I believe, like, what I would say is, like, this is something that, like, we have to bridge over, is the language gap, and then the morals.
So what you're saying, which I agree, is basically in the Middle East, especially in Gaza and many other places, it's basically what some people describe as a moral wasteland, right? And where the values are so the opposite of what you need to have a peaceful, prosperous society. And you're saying that you should educate, and you basically are kind of suggesting that this is not, unlike when some people who racist people might think that this is not inherent, this is not part of their biology, this is a cultural issue that you could teach. Okay, so you agree with that. That's good. And you're saying that once we first have to educate these people, give them the right values, and then once we do that, we could create a one-state solution. And a lot of people might think like that's not possible. And to that, you could say, well, it is possible. Look at Israeli Arabs who are living peaceful lives with us, who feel like they're Israeli, who are proud of their country, who are defending Israel. So if it's possible with them, it should be possible with Palestinians.
But it's also like the basic requirement to even have a conversation. Like there is no solution either way without having these basic moral principles, shared principles, right? Because then you can start saying, okay, so there is more to it, right? So there is Arabic versus Hebrew. So language, this is also part of a culture. There is more to that, right? There is like, what about like the Arab calligraphy, like the Arab music? There is some traditions, other traditions, right? Like how do you protect it, or like what do you abolish, what do you don't abolish? There is so much more to it. But the first thing is like that I feel like we have no choice, because the truth is there is a part of the world that had never ever adopted the morals that we believe in.
Right.
Never.
So there's
so there is no reason to believe that it will emerge from nothing.
So there's three problems with what you're suggesting, right? First of all, let's focus on the first one. If that happens, Israel will not be a Jewish state anymore. If you go with the one-state solution, we have 22 Arab countries, 1 Jewish countries. Your solution will make it 23 Arab countries and no Jewish countries. Are you comfortable with that?
So here is where I'm gonna say, this is where you need to know what Judaism is, because if you install the values like the 10 Commandments and value for life and value for truth and all those, if you install those values, you are like 50-60% Jewish already.
Okay, so this is where I would disagree. Okay, so you don't believe.
Me too.
Yeah, so you think that Judaism. So I have 3 definitions for Judaism, and I know that there's a 4th one coming, and I think you believe in the 4th one, and you think the 4th one is ancient, and I disagree with that. Okay, and I don't want to really get too much into this because I want to get to the 2 other points, but I just want to highlight the disagreements. I think Judaism refers to 3 things, and a 4th thing is being defined right now. One of them is a religion, the other one is an ethnicity, and the last one is a culture. And these are 3 different things, and Judaism is referring to these 3 things. And a 4th one that is being defined both in India and in Israel is a nationality. Israel, being Jew as a nationality.
Not accurate, because Judaism started as a nationality, turned into religion because of exile. But why would you disagree? Like, do you know Judaism?
I mean, yes, I studied. Yes. I read a couple of books on it, and I talked to university professors, Jewish university professors.
From where? From where, though?
From where?
From Israel or?
From Israel or from abroad?
Well, American Israeli university professors. Okay, and I mean, Judaism started as belief in gods, and so it was a poly. So you think that all these gods are just myth that nobody believes in? I mean, I've talked to many religious Jews. They literally believe that these are actual gods that created the world. And I also see the evolution of this religion. It started with multiple gods, and then the Yahweh cult defeated the other cults, and then the Yahwehism became Judaism, and then Judaism after the Second Temple got divided into Rabbinic Judaism and Christianity originally as a Jewish cult, and then eventually its own religion. So it was throughout its history, it was always a religion, and it was an ethno-religion. That's why so many, just like Hinduism is an ethno-religion, Judaism is also ethno-religion, unlike Islam and Christianity that are not ethno-religions. But again, so you believe that this is, and you say Judaism is a nationalism, like it's a Judaism refers to a nation. But when I say nation, I'm talking about the concept of a nation state that is a modern, like Judaism is ancient. The concept of a nation
Judaism
state
has
is a modern concept.
The Bible describes clear borders for the nation of Israel, for the Jewish nation. So it's a nation.
So does Hindu.
Huh?
Yeah, but
Hinduism is also like that. The concept of religion is new.
But those are Zoroastrianism.
Those are
Zoroastrianism.
It's also.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, but this is what
religion is new. Is a new concept. Religion is a new concept.
So here's the thing. When I say religion, I took another course with another university professor, and there's so many different definitions for religion, right? And the definition that this professor was giving to us, and I'm going with that definition, is that anything that believes in any set of ideas that believes in supernaturals and has rituals, that's a religion. And based on that definition,
Buddhism is it a religion or no?
Yes.
But they don't believe in God. They only believe in life, and they don't believe in God. They only believe in this life, and there is only and they do meditations and mindfulness.
That's a religion. Buddhism is a religion. Buddhism is a religion.
But there is no supernatural per se, right? Not necessarily.
There is supernatural. No. Buddhism has supernatural. It doesn't have God. It has supernatural. But here we could disagree with this concept. Let me just say that before Christianity and Islam, most religions had a land and an ethnicity tied to the religion, right? So this is just only the 2 most recent global religions that are not connected to a land or an ethnicity. I mean, Yeah. So if being connected to a land is your definition of it being a nation, I agree. You could. I can work with your definition and be like, okay, it's a nation. But when I
Yeah.
say a nation, I'm talking about the modern concept of a nation state, not
What
just being tied to a land. But I agree with you
what's
that
the
two different.
difference? What's the difference? What makes it different?
So the modern concept is not just a land. It defines a nationality of people. It defines a state recognized by international law and recognized by other internationally recognized nation states that
Okay.
accepts that connection of that state with that people. And
So
it's basically, yeah, go on.
so that's the only difference is the modern national international like jurisdiction
It's
system.
a
That's the difference.
Yeah, it's more clearly defined. It's the representation of that people with that nationhood with a specific state that is both recognized by those people and by the international community. Let me put Roy down
Like
because he.
I'm not sure that it wasn't working like that in nation times either.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't this
Like
clear.
I
It
don't
wasn't
think
this
that
well
I think they
defined.
recognized other countries, like they recognized other territories and nations as well.
No, but okay, but it wasn't like the concept of a border as we understand it today. It's not.
I
It wasn't
mean,
like that before. But it's okay. But it's okay. I can work with your definition. It's not like we don't want to
but
be
it's like
like.
it's like the nitty-gritty, right? It's just like fighting for the sake of it. I
Yes,
feel
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We don't have to. I mean, okay, Roy is back. We don't have to go over the meaning of words here because we could. I'm happy to work with other people's definitions, right? So,
right.
but you're based on. So when you say Israel, based on your definition, when you say Israel is a Jewish state, you're not saying um, a religion. You're not talking about an ethnicity. You're talking about certain values. And again, I don't like it that you mentioned the Ten Commandments because the Ten Commandments, I don't think it has good values, like something that is
I,
like it has blasphemy, like laws for blasphemy. Like that's not a very good source of
that's
morality.
not part of the
So you
Ten
disagree?
Commandments.
Okay. Thou shalt not worship other gods or other than me. That's
It's
not part of the Ten Commandments.
but it's not. It says that it's misunderstood. Like I made a video about it. It has it. You are not the one to punish a person that believes in another god. It's not your job
Okay.
as a person. It's not
That
blasphemy.
sounds
Like it's not
okay.
like
I
in
know this
Islam.
might.
You don't need to punish him,
Okay.
but it could
It's not
still be
like in
wrong.
Islam, and it also comes from a different set of thinking. It just says that if you put other values, then those values are gonna prove themselves wrong over time. It's different. It's completely different thinking. It's
Okay,
not
but
fair
that's your
to
interpretation,
apply
and it doesn't match. That's your interpretation, and it doesn't match most religious people's interpretation and most
really,
scholarly interpretation.
but it doesn't match things like the Talmud. It does match things like
The
Moron
Talmud
Nevuchim.
is even more barbaric and evil. I think
No,
like
it's
the Talmud
not.
is insane.
No,
Okay,
no,
it's
no,
but again,
no.
but
It's not true.
okay, Roy, what do you think? Roy is
Yeah,
also
I agree with
like
you. I also don't like. I also think that it is a specific interpretation of your Rebecca. I
Like
heard many religious people that don't interpret it like that. That say that actual God, and it's not like a metaphor or something like that. That's how they.
I know, but because like some people believe in God, but there are also Orthodox religious people that I've met that don't believe in God.
Yeah, but
This is a personal thing, right?
I
The
think I have
God
a more
part.
important
yeah, but
question. My question is, how about all of the other people, the Palestinians and the people around? Will they see it as a nation and not Judaism as a religion? And they are Muslims, so would they interpret it like that? They say, well, it's a Jewish country, but what we mean is the morals and not the religion, and all the countries around us. Will they see it the same as you? They must.
Isn't it already like a struggle inside of Israel as is? Like how
It
much
is,
of
but
it
if you
okay,
make
so
a one-state solution, it's much
but
harder.
it's gonna
Roy,
be what? Like I think like if it's gonna be in the more secular, just the moral system of Judaism, in the interpretation that is, let's say, like,
Gays.
more like for life, like in general, and like in a way that is meant to structure a healthy society,
so
then
for
you'd
for
have
the
a
sake
more force for the secular community in Israel. Like
So for the sake of, by the way, here's the thing. I don't agree. I think me and Roy disagree with Rebecca. Like Rebecca looks at the religious text, and I think I've seen this with other religions as well, like Christianity and Islam. I think the texts for Christianity and Islam are not good, but there are modern Muslims and Christians who look at it, who try to reinterpret it to make it look good and make it fit the modern way of living. And I know, Rebecca, you disagree, and I feel like you're doing the same thing
Because
here
I think
as well.
Christianity and Islam are religions, though. It's different.
I know. You think like they are not doing that, like you're not doing what they're doing, but I think like you are. Okay, but
because if you don't believe
know.
in Jesus, you're not
I
Christian.
heard many Muslims say that it's not a religion. It's something else.
But let's can we agree that I also think that most Jewish people at least disagree on this point. You know, I think like this interpretation that Rebecca has that makes Jewish texts look more more modern and more agreeable with modern way of living. I think most Jewish people, most Jewish scholars, and most Jewish religious people. I mean, I know, Rebecca, you could go find. I know ultra-Orthodox Jewish rabbis who are atheists, right? So I know you could find an example for everything. I just don't think that's most religious Jews don't think like that.
But can I say something?
One point.
But then the question is, who decides what Judaism is, you or me, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what bothers me in this conversation. Is like you choose not to be a part of it anyway, right? So if we want to be this or not that, let's say we decide that it's not about believing in God anymore, and it's about the moral system that we believe, and the argumentation culture, and there are lots more. Then this is our decision to make as Jews. Not necessarily.
Yeah, but you are not making that decision. You are not making that decision. You're the minority here. Because I'm saying that you don't represent most religious Jews' ideology. You are a minority in that view.
How would you know that?
I look at statistics. I look at I talk to religious Jews. I look at statistics.
I talk to religious Jews too, but what statistics? Like what exactly?
Most religious Jews believe in the stories as real. Believe this. They don't interpret the Torah and or the Talmud in the way that you are. I'm almost sure of that. So you are when you say we get to decide. Well, you're deciding what I'm saying. This is what you're deciding. Like this,
you have something to go on, Rebecca.
Yeah,
you have something to go on.
Like when can I say like 2 Jews, 3 opinions? It's a known joke. All right.
Yes,
it's not fair to make that argument at all, to be honest. I've said like I've had those like talks with Jews from all aspects in life. It's people are very, very different in the way they understand things. And what makes you think that the ultra-Orthodox Jews are the Jews that are right and not the secular Jews?
No, none of them are right.
Secular Jews,
like what makes you think that they are more Jewish than the other sect of Judaism, right? What makes you think that secular Jews are less Jewish than, let's say, ultra-Orthodox Jews?
No.
This is also a question, right? Why would you believe them more than you? Like I'm not saying this is. I'm not saying.
Well, can I clarify? You asked my question. Can I clarify?
It's more complex.
Okay, when it comes to, I will tell you my view. What my view is. By the way,
and I'll mark a comment that agrees. You mark the comment that agrees with you.
No, it's not me. It's Ahmad is highlighting.
Ahmad, okay.
It's not me. Yeah. Okay. So let me make this point. Okay. So first of all, I mentioned that Judaism is 3 things based on my opinion. Okay. So it's a culture, it's an ethnicity, and it's a religion, right? So when you say who's more Jewish, when it comes to religion, the people who are religious are more Jewish than the people who are secular. Okay. I know you disagree with this.
No, I don't even.
Let me make my point. I'm not finished yet. Let me make this point. But secular Jews, secular and atheist Jews. I've been to Israel. There are atheist activists against Judaism. People who are ethnically Jewish, who are not less Jewish than you or any other Jewish person, but they are less religious Jews, and they are against religion, like Judaism as a religion. They are hardcore atheists atheist Jews that are ethnically Jewish, but they're actively working in Israel against Judaism as a religion. And their also understanding is that Judaism is a religion, is a superstitious, and that it's bad for Israel. So they also exist. So you can dismiss those people that are doing that kind of activism as well. But yeah, go on, both of you.
No, it was like it's me.
So
Oh yeah,
to
there we go.
me,
Roy is one of them. Here we have an example right here. Yeah.
so to me it depends, right? Are you using Judaism as your argumentation base, or are you using, like, what are you using, right? I can say, like, what I'm saying, when I'm saying something, I can take Jewish texts and Jewish sources and the Bible to strengthen my argument, right? So I use the Jewish thinking, the Jewish history, to strengthen it, right? It's not that I'm using the Communist Manifesto to say why I believe in something that I believe in.
I know, but so do people in Israel who are anti-Judaism as a religion. They're using the same text to be against it. So are many religious
they're just
Jewish
as
people
correct. That's what I'm saying. They might be just as
we have
as
multiple.
correct.
We have
Yeah.
multiple truths here.
Yeah.
Yes,
believe in
you do.
multiple
This is why Jews argue all the time. Why do you think this
So,
this
no,
joke came
people,
to be?
no, people. You could have multiple opinions. You can't have multiple truths.
Yes, but okay, so you have multiple opinions. What's the problem with that?
Okay, but
there is no
there are some of
truth
them
when
that are
it
true and
comes to
some of them that are
something.
not.
You cannot say truth. There is no one.
No, but we
The
need to go
Bible
to remember
states
where we came
something
from.
and then goes against it, right?
Yeah, we need to
Because the
start
moral
to remember.
system always evolves.
Yeah, we need to start to
Okay,
remember
right,
why are we talking about it. We talk about it because we said it's
right.
going to be
Like
a Jewish
there are two
country.
versions of the Ten Commandments in the Bible. You cannot say
Right.
just one of them is true.
Actually, Roy has a good point. Roy has a good point because you said like so here. Why? That's a good point, Roy. Like good job. So you said that Israel could be a one state, and I'm like, well, Israel would not be a Jewish state anymore if it's a one state. You're like, no. When I say Jewish, you're saying that we can unify people under certain values. That's what unifies them. It doesn't have to be an ethnicity. It's not a religion. It's just a certain values that will unify these people. Let me finish this point. But if every two Jewish person has three different opinions of what Judaism is and what it stands for, then how could you unify these people under these values?
Can I answer though?
Yeah, of course.
Yes,
so
of course. Go ahead.
Makes or breaks it? So there is another aspect, the holidays. Like this is the litmus test, right? The doing the seder, the taking vacation on Jewish holidays, the Saturday as a rest day, national rest day. Those are the things that make it Jewish in the cultural way.
How about
There is
the
the
low-hanging fruit
there is
about gays? What's the morals with
huh?
the low-hanging fruit, the gays? How do we are gay people going to be protected, or is it one of the true morals or of
No, they have to be protected, and I believe that the reasoning and the historical reasoning that Judaism opposed homosexuality was misguided.
But I just stoned them to.
So, guys, we need to move on to the other points.
Stoning was abolished in Judaism a long time ago.
Yeah,
okay.
True.
So we need to move on to the two other points, but with regards to this point, so let's just disagree. Let's agree to disagree on what those values are. But what we agree on is that we could unify people under better values than Islamic values. Now, you want to call it Jewish values. Maybe me and Roy will call it secular, modern, liberal values. There's just like those are just the labels that we put on it, right? But we agree that there are better values than Islamic values. So you don't think that when you call Israel, so that's good because you don't think that when you say Israel should be a Jewish state, it's not something that is inherent. Like you think like other people who are Arabs could also be included in that. So that's a more welcoming. That's like opening your arms to other people. Yeah, okay.
It happens right now, right? You can choose what holidays to take a vacation on. There are several education systems. The basic thing that is like critical, right, is the geography and the moral system. So the geography doesn't allow two states, and the moral system doesn't allow living next to each other.
I really want to move on. So just say yes or no before we move on. You think that Israel could be an Arab majority country and still a Jewish state? You believe that?
And have the Jews, maybe the religious Jews, be protected? Maybe add to that.
If
No,
Arabs
just
go to the
let's first one
majority-
first. Like, you think that Israel could be an Arab majority country? Like, if we go with a one-state solution, make it an Arab majority country and still a Jewish state. You think that?
I think it's a weird, like, it depends. Like, to be honest,
Will they say
because
that they are Jewish?
because
So
you
this is
can say
interesting.
it's already an Arab majority country. Most of the Jews are also Middle Eastern and are from Arab descent.
Well, Middle Eastern and Arab is different.
How?
Middle
So
Eastern.
if you're talking about the Arab value system, if you talk about the original word that is Arab means from someone from the desert, then
So you
yeah,
don't. Okay,
Tunisian.
so
This is interesting.
So you don't really care much about ethnicity. You just care about values, which is actually is good. Okay.
like
All right,
ethnically
that's
we're
good.
just like we're not that far off
You
each
think-
other already.
Okay, that's
And I
fantastic.
thought
That's good.
it's the biggest thing, I think. Could you tell the difference? Like, unless somebody's wearing a religious garb, can you really tell the difference who is Arab, who is Jew?
No, but I think there is a difference between an Arab Jew and an Arab, right? They are not the same people. They will not agree about the same things. So
the values are different, aren't they?
yeah, so when I think that Armin, tell me if I'm wrong. What you meant is majority Arab non-Jews, not just majority Arabs.
No,
That's what you meant,
I meant Jews and non-Jews. The majority are Arabs.
No, but she thinks that Arabs who are not Jewish right now could be Jewish if it only because they accept certain values. She would consider them Jewish, right?
Oh,
like
Will
even
they consider themselves?
Rebecca. So even if they don't call themselves Jewish, as long as they accept certain values, you would consider them Jewish.
Yeah.
Even if they don't call themselves Jewish. Okay. Okay, that's very.
As far as I
That's
care.
very
Is
welcome.
it not important that they call themselves Jewish also, Jews, because they're living in a Jewish country?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. I have something to say. Armin, I think it's time you should maybe read the super chats. Maybe it's a good window for that.
Okay, let me really quick. Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, we have a lot of super chats, so let me read the.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Secular Sakai saying, I wish there could be a new flag, a political federation, and an egalitarian rights for both Israelis and Palestinians. No favoritism on either side. Sadly, that likely will never happen. Oh, thank you, Secular Sakai. And who's this? I don't know who this person is. Roy is saying, so you can. You're giving us. Thank you so much for the support.
6 shekels.
6 shekels. And Roy saying, so you can afford stars. So you can afford stars like Rebecca. Wow, great. Thank you so much. And then Mr. K is saying, okay, Roy, you are star 2. You are a star 2. I lost my leather straps. Okay. Thank you so much, Ozair, for saying, what if any are the tangible any of the tangible differences between a coalition of outside states creating plus supplying plus forming a foreign sovereign power and colonization? I will get to that, so thank you for that. I will get to that. Here's another super chat by Nera saying, our first children's stories are Bible stories, and it's all Old Testament all over the Christian world. We're taught 10 commandments in early years. West is part of Judeo-Christian values. She's right. So this Nero is agreeing with Rebecca here. Siva is saying, excellent show, really interesting. And thank you so much, guys. And yes, Yasina is saying, I'm an Arab Jew and I don't trust all Arabs. Well, you shouldn't trust all of any group of people, regardless of their ethnicity. But thank you so much for all these super chats. So let's go to the next point with the one-state solution that Rebecca is suggesting. If you could actually educate people in the way that Rebecca is suggesting and change their values, well, then why not then go with a two-state solution? Given that they would not be a threat anymore to attack you.
Because 2 states means that you have no footprint. It means that you don't have you don't have a hold there. You don't have control. You cannot influence their education system.
So it needs to be maintained all the time.
You have to be you have to be you have to control it. You have to.
So what's the step-by-step process? Are you going to make it a one state, then educate them, or educate them and then go? Because if you can't, you first have to educate them, right? So because right now, if you right now, I mean, I agree with that. Like, democracy is a process. Like, you have to eventually get to give them voting rights, but you cannot. It's not like immediate, right? So I agree with that. But if right now you make a one-state solution without that process in between, that it would be massacre. It would be a bloodbath, bloodbath. Because like imagine on October 7th, you had just this tiny little gap in the wall, and 1,200 Israelis died. So imagine if you just open the border and it's a one-state
Yeah,
solution.
but
right
what do you
now,
mean you open the border? First, you enter with the military. You clean the terrorist cells like they do in Gaza, and then you have civilian facilities, and then you create civilian facilities. You build schools. You work with the population. You build an orphanage. You take care of the woman. You have to see their mental state, their health. Are they in abusive relationship? You have to protect the people that are vulnerable first, and then you start it's a process.
And then. Well, this is a long process. It will not be. It will be for the Palestinians haven't even been born yet, right? Right. So this is like for multiple generations down the road, which I agree. This is going to be a long process. But again, if let's say you get to the point where they now have the correct values and they're not a threat to Israel, right? So I'm at this point. I'm like, okay, why not make it a country of Palestine that is not a threat to Israel anymore? You're saying that if you make it a country and leave it, they could go back to, like, you need to stay there because they could go back to being the way they were before?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah. And
is
also,
it's interesting. Is it like why outside influence? Why would they go back?
To be honest, it's also because the economical and geographical things. Like if you have one state that is completely dependent on the other, it's a very weird relationship. Like if they need us for like sea access, they need us like the dependence is so great that it's just not a good idea. This is why geography matters. It's because you become dependent on someone else.
They don't have to be dependent.
If they only have hills, like even like the Judean Samaria, right? Those are hills. And if you like, Gaza is not even connected to it. It's like, okay, so you have to have roads in between, and then the agriculture or the water system and things like that, like, and then air, like even leaving the ports, right? It's like it's either they have to do it through another country. It's like not independent in many ways, right? So it's like it's problematic in that way as well.
Yeah, but can you imagine something like Europe where there are borders, but they're like just, they can come right through here. They can just drive, and you don't need a road.
No, because Roy, because Rebecca, actually, I see her point, because you need to be able to change their education, like media, their infrastructure.
Yeah, but
if
after
it's
you
like
did
Europe,
that,
you would have no.
No, you did that. You're fine. We did it. Mission accomplished. Now open the borders, and you just open. You can drive from. It's just a two-state solution.
So that's
open
the thing
borders.
now, right? Is Europe even? Is it really? The Europeans now really, really feel it. They realize that being part of the European Union also means that they have no nationals. Like they don't have. They cannot influence their own countries. So Europe, in that sense, killed. Ireland doesn't. No country controls their own borders now because they are part
Britain
of the
always
EU.
talk. What does it mean to be Britain?
So this is like, I think the EU was a mistake in that sense.
Well, I don't agree with that, but
I don't know if it was or wasn't, but it's problematic.
But we don't want to go into another topic. But Roy, I am kind of might be switching sides on you, and I'm going a little bit to Rebecca's side.
I told you.
No, because I always thought that the best way to solve this, and again, was a two-state solution, but not now. Right now, if you make Palestine a country, this is suicide for Israel, like having the Islamic State right next to you as a neighbor. I thought I believed in a three-step process. First, you go in, you destroy Hamas, you destroy any ability for anything like Hamas to be able to control Gaza ever again, right? Then the step two is the investments, and building hospitals, building schools, building the infrastructure with your military presence there, with your, when you're constant observing of making sure there's no other terrorist groups like being raised to be able to threaten you again. And you invest in giving them hope, giving them a life, giving them economic prosperity, making sure there's trade with Israel as well, and changing the education system so that eventually, not just Palestinians, because I don't think there's any much hope for like the mass majority of Palestinians. I know there are exceptions. There are many good Palestinians, but the vast majority of Palestinians, unfortunately, have been too radicalized. So I think this would be for future generations, for Palestinians who haven't even been born yet, eventually for them to be fighting, not being brainwashed. And then with that generation, then that's a generation that you could talk to, that you could negotiate with. And then my understanding was that at this point, you could now argue with it for a two-state solution. But now, Rebecca, if we get to that point that they're not a threat anymore, why not at that point make it a one-state solution, given that these are people that have the right values, to make sure that it doesn't go back? And my opposition to that was always because that would make Israel an Arab state now. It would make an Arab majority state. But that's kind of racist of me, because why do we... values are what is
able to
important.
live like us? They must go back somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, is
Like-
it inherent
like
to them? Are they
do we
bad?
not respect the Druze minority in our country because it's a Jewish country? Do we not like do we not respect the Druze in our country? We do.
Yeah. I have two challenges
No.
for that.
Wait, Roy has a good comeback. He said, like, you guys are the racist ones. You think that Arabs are so inherently bad that if you don't constantly monitor them, they would just switch back. No, Roy, it's not because they're inherently like that. I think because they're surrounded.
Yeah.
Palestine is surrounded by other countries who
Outside
have
influence.
that want to attack, want the worst things for Israel. And if you just leave, Israel doesn't have control over that environment. Like countries like the Islamic Republic of Iran or some other countries in the future will come back in there, and Israel would not be able to stop them anymore to come up with their propaganda and then come in again with the bad values that would be a threat to Israel.
Good
So it's
question
not that
is,
they're
will they still have a problem with Israel? If it's such a utopia, maybe even they will not have
They
a
might
problem
not,
with
but
Israel
again,
anymore.
they could. But
Maybe.
look at the Islamic
But they
Republic
could.
of Iran right now, right? Like, they're going into Africa right now. They're building mosques. They're trying to influence people's opinions. I mean, look what they're doing this with Europe and with Canada and United States. So if you could do it with Europe, you think they can't do it again with the future Palestine as a state? So they can. Like, there you go, right?
Yeah, I have two challenges. That one of them I like Rebecca's answer. The first one is Islam, and it's a very big challenge that Armin might want to say something about it, because there's still Islam. Islam is strong, Islam. And the second one is apartheid, that Rebecca have very, very instinct reaction to that. It would be an apartheid, right? During all of this, if Israel is actually inside of Gaza,
it's not.
People will
not
say
apartheid.
it's an apartheid.
It's not apartheid. It's
Okay.
not about citizens. Okay, so for it to apartheid is when you have two-tier citizenship. Like, you have some citizens that have more rights and freedoms than other citizens.
Yeah, but how convenient it is, right? Okay,
if the
so
Puerto
just not call them-
Rico,
if
is part of the United States. They don't have voting rights.
Yeah,
for
but
example,
what if
in the
South
US. Is it
Africa could have
apartheid?
just said, sorry, South Africa could have just say, well, so the black people are just not citizen, and then we're done with it. That's not apartheid
No,
anymore.
they couldn't live. They couldn't eat in the same table. Like, they couldn't sit, like, legally. They could not sit in the same table.
Yeah,
and
but
eat.
that's just more apartheid.
No, right. Look at the difference between. So let's imagine South Africans are citizens, and they're like, oh, let's take away their citizenship away, and now we're not apartheid. But look at the direction, right? So in Israel, we have people. What Rebecca is suggesting is people who are not citizens, right? Before they're citizens, you can't give them equal rights before they're citizens. But the process is to make them citizens and eventually give them equal rights. So the direction is to eventually include them and give them equal rights. What you're describing in South Africa are people who are citizens, and then you want to take away their citizenship away so that they don't get equal rights. That's the difference.
Nice, great.
Right?
That's nice, yeah.
Right.
But the world will say apartheid, right? So
the world already is saying that.
Already said apartheid.
And another reason that I'm saying that is because this is, like, if we look at history, this is what happened to the original Amalek, and this is what happened to the Adamites and the Moabites, like that they eventually started adopting the values of Judaism and just like and gradually integrated in the Jewish population. This is what historically happened. They learned the values and they started taking more and more, and eventually they just integrated to the Jewish population.
And what you say,
So
Armin,
Rebecca,
what about Islam?
Go ahead, Roy, because I've been speaking too much. You go ahead.
Yeah, what about Islam? Islam is a very big challenge, right? Armin, isn't Islam a very big challenge to overcome?
Yeah, but look at the Muslims who are Israeli citizens. Islam is a big challenge, but
It's
if
still a
you
challenge,
give
though.
so what?
Yeah, but they're not the
It will
majority.
always be a challenge, but here's the thing: people who are still Muslim could be less Islamic. Islam is always evil. Islam is always disgusting. There's no hope for reforming Islam. But Muslims could be less Islamic, and Muslims will become less Islamic if you give them a better life. If you, like Israel has given Muslims a better life than Muslim countries give their own citizens, right? And if you keep doing that, you will shift the mind to life over death, to dunya over akhirat, to this life versus the afterlife, right? Because Muslims are not just Muslims. Muslims are many things. Being Muslim is just part of it. If you make their non-Muslim part of their identity a bigger part of their identity, you will win. If you make them feel, their nationalism could overcome their religion, and that's what you do by giving them a country that they could be proud of. But go on.
By the way, there are a lot of Israeli Arabs that are super successful. Like, it's not like, I think, was it the VP or the CEO of like Apple was an Israeli Arab. Like, I personally, like, so many Israeli Arabs that are super, like, went on and like they're really successful, like really are. And a lot of them, by the way, come back and contribute to the Israeli population. And they come back and invest in Israel. Because
but I still
they
have
believe
something
in it.
bad to say, that some people say it in closed doors, as they say. Everyone said the good Arabs are good because they're the minority. And if they knew, that's what people say, if they knew that they can win a war, all of the good Arabs will join the war. Let's say hypothetically that Iran and everyone strike Israel, they will join.
Yes, that's what Hamas thought too. This is exactly what happened right now in when the 7th of October happened. This was exactly what Iran and Hamas and everybody thought.
That's not an Arab trait. That's an Islamic trait. Roy, that's not an Arabic trait. That's an Islamic trait. To say that Arabs are like that is making it seem like there's certain values are tied to ethnicities. And
of course, I'm saying that what people say. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying people say
wrong.
That's
wrong. There's nothing inherent
here in Israel. What will happen.
You can't change people's ethnicities. You can change people's values. Like we're all like humans. Like there's nothing different between Arabs and other ethnicities.
But what you said is amazing. When the war started, my parents live in not Natzat Elite. It's like a city that is adjacent to Nazareth. It's surrounded by Arabs. I was very afraid. I went there to be there with them in case something will happen. So I was afraid to fall asleep. I was sure that every second now, the Muslim and Arabs from Nazareth will rise. I think I was paranoid, but I was afraid that something will happen, and nothing happened. Not even small events, like marry a person here and there. It was amazing.
But here's, so I have 2 points. And Rebecca, let me know if you agree with this. I think a lot of people who are watching this from outside of Israel do not know what it's like to live, not know the future. Other countries, when they go to war, if they lose, they just lost one war. But Israel, when it goes to war, if it loses, it might lose its very existence.
We need to always win. We are not allowed to lose one war.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
it's more than losing.
Can't understand the anxiety.
Everybody inside of it.
Yes, and people don't understand what it's like to live with that anxiety. People in other places in the world that are fighting for a better life. Israelis are fighting to just to survive, to be able to live, and that's with that. People have to understand that mindset that makes all the calculations very different, right? So, but it's very impressive to me. Like, I know a lot of people are very judgmental. That with all that anxiety and all that stress. I know Rebecca gets criticized a lot for her views everywhere, but I'm actually impressed for you to even have come out with all that anxiety and all being surrounded with so many enemies that want to end you, to come out say, and we will eventually want to give them better lives, we will eventually want to welcome them, we will eventually want to accept them with open arms. I think actually that needs to be celebrated. So your eventual goal is people who live in the West Bank and Gaza. Your eventual goal is for them to be equal citizens, not now, but eventually people that have the right to vote, that are equal in rights and freedoms and protected under the law, just like any other Israeli citizen. Is that your eventual goal?
My eventual goal is for them to have free choice that is really free. Right now, they are not allowed to say anything that is against anyone that is in the hierarchy in the Arab society is above them. It's very strict. Like if you want to hear an opinion from an Arab person, they would whisper it in your ear out of fear to actually state it. Like you also, when you grow, like when I go and you talk to Arabs, you learn you have to know how to decode what they're actually trying to say, because also there is like a real threat of like there are people who are eavesdropping to them, and make sure to tell it to the right people if they say something that is out of line. For example, if they go against Islam and things like that, it does happen. Or if
Yeah,
there's an Arab and you have
I
family
understand that.
in the West Bank,
I understand that.
that's even
We
more under
we
threat.
we shown that here on this channel a lot, but that's specific. I
My
want you to
goal,
refer to, yeah, go on.
my goal is to have for them, right, is to be able to say what they think for real. And
Okay,
when they can do that and we can have that kind of conversation, then
but
it's
is
their
your eventual
choices.
goal? Okay, but if you're looking for a one-state solution, okay, that's what you want. Okay, so this
I think
specific question
geographically
is your
it's
goal.
the only option. Yeah.
Okay, so a one-state solution is your goal for people in today's Palestine, today's West Bank and Gaza,
Right.
to eventually be Israeli citizens with equal rights and freedoms. That's your goal. Okay, I admire that. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Roy, do
but
you
there
I
what's
is a
your?
can even add.
I'm
conversation
switching
there.
sides, Roy. I'm on Rebecca's side now. I'm switching sides.
I
No,
don't know
because I'm
what
saying
where
there is a
I'm on
conversation
the
there
fence, right in between you.
like there is
Yeah.
a conversation there that where they should be able to finally speak freely, to actually have, hey, do you guys actually want to marry through imams or not? Do you guys actually what's the do you like holidays, right? Like things like that, like what's Arabic, like there is so much conversation to be having about it, right? About
Yes.
like
So,
hijab, like
would you open
how,
to
like there is
change
so
the
much
name
to
of?
talk
Sorry.
about, like, right, you have one state solution, but then there's like, there is a thing is like, hey, how do we look at religion, and what is the the general values that we operate with. For us, like, to me, I always thought that being Jewish, like, why wouldn't other people want to protect it? Like, why wouldn't they want to protect a system, a Judaism that has existed for thousands of years? It's like, and it's like, it's a museum. Like, I always thought, like, why would you want to break something that you could put in a museum, right? And you have living people, like, what like historical loss that would be, just in a sense
To
that
be
this is part of the human history, and if you lose that,
to
you
be
lose
fair,
such a big chunk of human history if
right?
you
Yeah.
take away the
Yeah,
Jews.
I mean, to be fair, Rebecca, even me as an atheist who's anti-religion and thinks Judaism is also a religion, the other definition of Judaism for me, which is a culture, not just a religion, I think that's worth preserving, worth protecting. Jewish history, Jewish mythology, Jewish stories. Obviously, all of that needs to be protected. I mean, as an atheist, but go on, Roy. You want to say something?
Yeah, I think that the credibility of this is raised when you say that it's not even a philanthropic idea. It's not like, maybe it is, but Rebecca doesn't have to say, well, I worry, my heart is with them. You can even be for yourself. I want it because it will be better for me. You know what I'm
Right. Yeah.
saying? You could be an
For
egoist
your
and will still
survival.
want that solution.
Yeah. Because like you want to eliminate this threat, and this is
Yeah.
basically, and and again, a lot of people don't understand that this is not just a military battle. This is an ideological battle, and you cannot win this war in war. You cannot win this one. I mean, you have to do war. You have to protect yourself. You have to eliminate the people who want to come harm you. But this war will not end unless you win ideologically. You cannot kill ideas with tanks, bullets, and helicopters. You have to change people's opinions.
Tanks,
Yeah,
bullets, and helicopters help. Believe me.
No, they help. I do not want to dismiss them, but again, it's not complete without the ideological side, right? Okay, so good. This is a. I just want to move on to another topic because
just a small funny question. Just a small nice question.
Go on.
Would you open to change the name of the country so it would be actual objective, like a totally different name for both Jews and Palestinians?
No, because I don't think it's true. Like I think it would be a lie.
Okay.
No, because Israel is already a nation state. It's recognized internationally. Palestine is.
It's also written as Israel is mentioned in the Quran in ancient.
Yeah, of course, but they are now believing that Palestine.
No, I mean just like state, saying like Palestine.
Okay. I don't like referring to
Palestine
ancient
is a colonial name, like through and through. You know.
Yeah, but if it's so important, why not? Just.
Because they're not Palestinians either.
Because then you're giving into.
They're just Arabs. They only use the name Palestinian when they talk to Westerns. They never use it.
It's a Roman name, and it's so bizarre that they chose a name that has the word P in it. The sound. Yeah, the Arabs don't even have P. Like they don't have like it's obviously a foreign name. Oh my God! Don't get me on that. But anyways, Rebecca, I wanted to make sure we touch on this a little bit. So I'm Iranian, you're Israeli, Roy is Israeli, and I have this idea that Iranian people and Israeli people need to unite against their common enemies with each other, because both Iranian people and Israeli people are surrounded by an ideology of death. And they share, Iranian and Israelis have been natural allies throughout history. And given how lonely they are in this environment, this hostile environment, it makes strategic sense for them to work with each other against it for their survival. Given that their enemy is both a political identity that they share, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran, which is behind most of the enemies that Israel has. When it comes to the training and funding, the Islamic Republic is the enemy of Iranian people and the Israeli people, and they're both trying to fight against it. And also ideologically, they're opposed to the same ideology that is coming from them both. Do you see potential and a lot of utility in Iranian people and Israeli people working with each other?
Yes. To be honest, we need to bring the Middle East is the original place where civilization started, and this is where we should bring it back to the glory that it deserves. Like if it wasn't for the Middle East, the Europeans were still like barbaric tribes.
Iran specifically was a very source of good
Iran, thinking, like a lot came
in Israel. I think Iranian Israelis are more sophisticated and smart people in Israel. Yeah.
So, but Rebecca, because I saw you talk about this on your channel a little bit. You mentioned that you talked about Iranian people. Yes. But what do you have any thoughts about specifically the unity between, because after the Mahsa Revolution and after October 7th, we see a lot of displays of Iranian people supporting Israel and vice versa. Do you have any specific thoughts on this unity yourself?
I mean, I think about the unity, I think, listen, like the Persians, the Iranians, like this long history that we share. Like I think I told you before, right? I said like we owe you a favor. We owe you guys, like the Persians, a favor. They released us from slavery once. We never got the opportunity to pay back that debt. So we should really take the chances when we can. But
so you're referring to Cyrus freeing the Jews from
and letting us go back to Jerusalem.
to build a temple. Yeah. And you're now Iranians are in slavery, so you need to come and help us out, free us, like return the
and
favor.
then we can be even. We'd be like, okay, now we even. Now we can.
Now
Which is like
we don't like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, before the revolution, Islamic revolution in Iran and Israel had really good relationships, and Iran
there are
was
rumors
a place
that I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There are rumors that
go
the
ahead.
West really didn't like it. There are some rumors like that they really that they didn't like it.
Yeah, back in the day where there was so much anti-Jewish hatred in Europe and in the United States, Iran was a place where the Pahlavis would welcome Jewish refugees running away from Iraq. So back in the day where Americans would turn away the ships, even after World War II, when the United States would turn back ships of Jews trying to come to the United States, even before that, Iran was trying to get Jews to come to Iran, Jews that were running away from Iraq. So we had like a very good history between these two nations. So I think if it wasn't for the Islamic Republic, we could go back to that. But anyways, this is a very hard time, and we need all the help.
The good old times when Zoroastrians and Hindus and Jews, like and also Greek philosophers, all exchange ideas and argued about morals, and there were there were a lot of discussions like that written in the Talmud, which I know people are like, oh, the Talmud.
To be fair, I don't like to go back in history. I do think like we have much better lives today on average in the world. So I don't want to go back because we live more prosperous. Like even things look bad, but it used to be worse. Like we used to have more wars. But
but there is a reason they got better. We also have to look at why they got better and why we feel like we're losing it now. There were things that made it better, and we feel that we're
liberal
losing
values, science and technology.
Science and technology is not enough, but the values,
liberal values, yes. Okay,
Armin, how about Rebecca, the monetization? I know this conversation is very interesting to you because you're not together here, man. I need to babysit your channel right now. That's how I know you are very into this conversation.
Yes, I know, but YouTube has been good to us recently. They don't demonetize our conversations as much as they used to. So I don't know what's happening, but let me double check. Yeah, we're still monetized. So I don't know what's happening.
Maybe since the pro-Palestinian demonstration they did, they fired those workers, and now it's getting better. I don't know.
You think?
Oh, we got 2 more super chats. Let me just read those. Aiden saying, I'm Irish and I'm ashamed of my country. Guys, don't be ashamed of things that you're not responsible for. You are only responsible for your own thoughts and actions, not the actions of groups that you belong to. Okay. So Aiden is saying, I'm Irish and I'm ashamed of my country for its recognition of Palestine as a state yesterday. This is not the time for this. Yes, it's not the time at all. Even if the 2-state solution was a good solution, this is not the right time. This is basically an attack on Israel. So, but again, Aiden, you didn't do it, so don't be ashamed of it. Gigi is saying Jewish equals Judean people of Judah and Hebrews of Israel. Yeah, I mean, there's many different working definitions here, so people are going to disagree. But again, thank you so much for the support. And guys, again, please make sure you go check out Rebecca's channel. I will put it in the live chat again, and it's also in the description. Rebecca, can you tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel? Like what kind of videos do you, so for people to know what they are subscribing to when they go to your channel? What is your channel about?
Yeah, so to be ready. Heads up.
What my channel about? I don't know, geopolitics, Judaism, religion, everything, whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, actually, everything that comes to mind in her live, it's whatever comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh, Roy, you watch her channel?
Yeah, I watched a couple of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Rebecca. So this was good. Thank you so much. I think I changed my opinion. I have managed to, I like it when somebody changes my opinion. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually, I have to think about this a little bit more. But thank you so much for this. Was very helpful.
And now do a video like Harris. Do a video about it and make her angry because like Harris did, right? Yeah. Be smart because she's not here. I can say what I think now. She can reply to my thoughts.
All right, guys. So just hold on a bit. I'm going to end the stream. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel as well, and leave a comment after the live stream is over. That helps the channel. And please also recommend Atheist Republic YouTube channel to your friends and your enemies. I see 700 people are watching it, 360 on Twitter. So people who are watching this on Twitter, please make sure that you come and subscribe on YouTube, Atheist Republic YouTube channel as well. Okay, till next show. Bye, guys. Mwah. You guys wait 1 second.